Hi, I'm not very good at this. Hi, I'm Effie, and for the past 8 weeks I've been going through all of the nominees for this year's Hugo Awards, and as a result of that, because I'm not a particularly fast reader, my currently reading list is a little bit out of control now. So I am currently reading, wow, I can't write as fast as I can speak. So I'm currently reading 46 books. I also have 3 arcs that I kind of probably should read this month. So that is a grand total of 49 books, which is way too many books that I currently have on the go. So this vlog is going to be me going through and trying to clear down my currently reading pile. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to split the books into one of 4 categories. So category 1 is soft DNF. And what is a soft DNF to me? It is a DNF without prejudice, which is me being way too wordy, i.e. DNFing for now and may continue in the future. So that is category 1, and then category 2 is a hard DNF. And what does that mean? It means DNFing with no interest to return in the future. So I would say these are books that I don't plan on ever picking up again, but it's very much like never say never. There is a possibility I may choose to pick them up at some point in the future, but I have no immediate desire to continue them. And then we have category 3, which is low priority current reads. So these are the ones where I don't mind how long they take me to get there. I'm happy to just chip away at them slowly but surely. And the final category is everything else, which sounds kind of catch-all, but this is a category that I'm most interested in this video, because these are the books that I'm going to put in an order of priority and I'm going to work my way through. And I'm basically going to say I have until I go away for Worldcon. Ideally, I'd like to clear my decks by the end of the month, but I think giving myself an extra couple of days is probably not a bad idea. So these I'm going to prioritise from like most interested to least interested. And I think I'm going to set a hard limit of any books in this category that are on my currently reading at the point that I go away for Worldcon will be soft DNF'd. I hope this all makes sense. Now let's go through the books and try and put them into categories. So these are all of the books that I am currently reading. You'll notice a couple of them I don't have covers for, because He Who Bleeds, the cover at the point that I'm filming this hasn't been revealed, but it will be revealed by the time this video goes up, so I'll try and pop the cover in post. And then chunky fanfiction, I read fanfiction purely for myself, so we're not talking about what fanfiction I'm reading there. But everything else is the covers of the books that I'm currently reading. I've just noticed these are slightly running away from the camera angle, but what can I do when I've got to fit 49 books onto a single table? So I think the best way to approach it is to pick out the soft DNFs first. I may add more to this category later, but let's go through and see which of them look like they might be soft DNFs. I don't think there's many, to be honest, because a lot of them I either like desperately do want to DNF or I'm kind of on the fence. So, soft DNFs. Ooh, this is actually surprisingly hard. City on Mars, I was really enjoying it, but I just don't think it's a priority for me at the moment, and we'll leave it at that. It's non-fiction as well, like it's really well written, but I have to be quite strict with what I am and aren't going to continue. And then I'll go for the atrocity archives as well. Like, I was really struggling to like understand what was going on, but I feel like it could be a hit if I stuck with it, but I was really struggling to like comprehend it. Are there any others? A Benny's Song by P. Jelly Clark. I just don't think I had enough time to really dive into it and get a feel for it. I think I will probably enjoy it when I, you know, sit down to read it. But for the moment, because I'm having to narrow things out, it's, again, not a priority for me. Are there any others? Are there any others? So this is a weird one, but I'm going to say, well, I don't know, it's somewhere between a soft and a hard DNF. Because, like, it's really well written. I just don't think it's my vibe. So, All These Worlds is a soft DNF. And, oh, there's at least one other. Translation State, because I actually don't own the full edition. The publisher, author, whoever sent across a sample for Hugo consideration only sent across a 100 or so page sampler, so I don't actually own the full book, so that's going to be a soft DNF. And I'm actually going to say The Saint of Bright Doors. It wasn't quite drawing me in, and I think it's one of those that if I had the time to sit down and really give it all of my attention, I probably could enjoy, but not for now. Okay, I think those are all of the soft DNFs for now, so let's pile them up and get them out of the way. And then we will move on to hard DNFs, which I always find are kind of like fun because you get to be a little bit like bitchy and be like, no. But obviously, like, books don't work for everyone, and that's completely fine. So, hard DNFs. These are the books I want to yeet away from my life. And can I fit this somewhere? Right, just give me a sec to rearrange these books, and hopefully I can fit the board somewhere where it's not going to be on top of the covers. Okay, we haven't got like a full good space, but we've got a bit more space for it. Okay, so hard DNFs. We have got this, which is this Seeds of Mercury? I think this is Seeds of Mercury. It's a short story, I just didn't vibe with it and don't feel any need to continue it. Mimicking of Known Successes. The prologue intro was great, but then the writing style changed, or perhaps the perspective changed, and it just wasn't a vibe anymore for me. The Ha, I know a couple of people have read it recently. I was interested in it. I've gotten about halfway through, and it's not, I just don't care, to be honest. And I know people who can tell me what happens, so I don't feel the need to continue with the story. 10% Thief, it just didn't work for me. I think this is one that's kind of somewhere between a soft and a hard DNF, but I have no immediate plans to pick it up again in the future, so it goes. Hooked, it just didn't work for me, what I read of it. Like, it had potential, but yeah, just not my cup of tea. Life Doesn't Allow Us to Meet, it was fine. I think I'm going to call all these things short stories, like Hugo stuff, but I don't know what it's technically defined as. Yeah, it was fine. I just had no interest in continuing it. Shards of Earth is another one that was a sampler, but unlike Translation State, I really wasn't vibing with it, and it made me feel really dumb, and that's not what you want when you read a book. Gilded Thorns, if you know me, you know I like vampires, but this didn't work for me. Unfortunately, like, the writing just wasn't to my taste. And you know, that's fine, not every book is for everyone. Titan's Tears had a lot of potential, but, well, I mean, one, I didn't love the way that it talked about blindness, and also thought the pacing was off. And yeah, just, it didn't work for me, unfortunately. Are there any others that I would DNF? I mean, I think I'm actually going to put this in the soft DNF category. So we'll pop it over here. So Liberty's Daughter, it seemed a fine and interesting approach to something that I possibly wouldn't have like chosen to pick up for myself. But I'm just not in a place to prioritise that at the moment. Oh, this is another, like, somewhere between a hard and a soft DNF. Rose House by Arcady Martini. You know, I didn't love what I'd read of it, and don't feel like prioritising it. Are there any others? I think that's it. You know, as we've already seen, I can circle back and put other things in categories afterwards, so it's not as if once we move on from hard DNFs I can't decide, oh actually I want to hard DNF something else. Okay, so let's move these out of the way and reshuffle the covers again. Or should we just, actually before we reshuffle the covers, I'm just gonna put these to one side so I can rub this out, and we're gonna do low priority currently readings, and I think there's just two in this category, so low priority current reads. So this is just going to comprise of chunky fan fiction, because as I say, reading for myself, you know, taking my time that I need with it. And we've got The Right to Maim, which is fantastic. Really, like, it's a really good non-fiction, but it does require a lot of mental energy, so I am taking my time to make my way through and fully absorb what I'm reading in that book. And everything else is what I'm happy to continue to be currently reading. It's kind of intimidating, but let's rank it all. So we're going to get the whiteboard out of the way, and we are going to just try and come up with some kind of order of how I'm going to prioritise all of these books. Alrighty, should I? Yeah, let's just reshuffle the covers so we've got a bit more space to play with. I'm not going to lie, this is still pretty intimidating, because this is still, what, 30 books? Yeah, this is still 30 books that I'm trying to make my way through. But hopefully by prioritising them, you know, I'll be approaching them in the order that they intrigue me, and the ones that I'm left at the end of this 2-ish week period where I'm trying to clear my TBR, not my TBR, my currently reading, will be the ones that I'm actively, like, not as interested in, I suppose. So my top priority at the moment is Honey Craves, and I'm hoping to finish that fairly soon, if I'm honest. It is only about 150 pages long, so it's not super long, so it is pretty achievable. And then what is my second priority? I feel like my number one was really easy, and then I am at a loss. I think I'm going to say Unraveller. Like, I picked it up. That was one of the Hugo books. Well, I don't know if the Lodestar Award is actually technically a Hugo Award, but that was one of the books I picked up for my Hugo Awards vlog, and I read a chunk of it and then popped it down, and I keep kind of wanting to return to it, so yeah. Oh, Sister Maiden Monster, I'm loving that kind of book at the moment. I can't quite put my finger on what kind of book it is, but I'm loving it at the moment. And then, ooh, you know what? Let's go for like a whole heap of... Should we go for a whole heap of vampire books? Or should we say... It's hard. I think start a villain because it's like light, airy, easy breezy, but also seems like a lot of fun. It's so hard like putting them in front of myself, like what do I actually want to read? Like I think it's a bit easier maybe to think about what's at the bottom, but less so what's at the top, I think. So Diary of Blood's a reread, but I don't know, like it's going to be an easy one I think to finish because I know I enjoy Diary of Blood and I know what's going to happen as well, so it being a reread is going to help push me through. He Who Bleeds, yes, by Dorian Valentine. It's so twisted and deranged in the best possible way, and I'm so here for it. Beautiful Villain is Vampires meets Gatsby, so yes, very interested. Also, it was an arc, so the quicker I can get through it, the better. And speaking of arcs, we're going to put Long Live Evil, which comes out at the end of the month that I'm filming this, July. And you know what, let's just put all the arcs that I've got here next, because honestly, like, it is one of my big goals to work through my arcs. So I think Only the Guilty survive because I am so... This is one of the ones that I'm not actually currently reading, but it is an arc that I feel like I need to prioritize. So, and it actually isn't out yet. Yeah. And it's a bit different as well because I think we've got a lot of fantasy and whatnot. So something that I think is more of a thriller just mixes it up a bit. Let's see, other arcs. Hunter's Gambit, Angry Robot were nice enough to send me a physical arc, so we'll pop that there. Panic, I was really enjoying listening to the audiobook of it, and I loved the Killing Eve books. So, yep. We've got another vampire arc, easy to read. And I love how badass Brinley is, and I'm interested to see where her dynamic with her husband in this book goes, because this is the second book in a duology. Do I have any other arcs? Yes, Gwen and Art. Even though this book's been out for ages, I did get an arc on NetGalley before it came out, so... Let's click. Well, I mean, same for Panic. Like, it's been out for ages, but I just haven't, like, gotten around to clearing it, but I will. I think everything else is not arcs, which is quite exciting. I am deeply curious about Haunting Adeline, so I think that goes next. I don't know why I haven't put Some Desperate Glory higher. I think because it's one of those where, like, when I'm not reading, I'm not necessarily picking up for it. But when I am reading it, I am absolutely adoring. So we'll put Some Desperate Glory. And then I think I need to, like, shufty things along. So, although I could just start continuing. So it's like, it goes do. And then if I start here and move my way down... So, I think it's going to go Rosemary and Rue, Honey Witch, oh, Marvellous Light, Mammoths at the Gates, what next? I think When the Moon Was Hatched, To Shape a Dragon's Breath, The Death I Gave Him, Robber Girl, Star Wars Wants Blood, yeah, Victory is Greater Than Death, Fireborn in Exile, House with Good Bones, If Return Found Hell, On the Foxroads, Sunlight Man. Okay, so we have a order for them all now, although what I will say is it's very interesting, like, what I've put at the bottom. And it's going to be very interesting sort of checking in. Well, I will check in periodically throughout this vlog on how I'm getting on. but I think it'll be particularly interesting to check in on how I'm feeling about the ones that are at the bottom. And also, I guess, to see if my order of how I'm prioritising anything changes as I go along, because it was a lot harder than I expected to kind of go through and decide, okay, what do I actually want to continue reading and what are lower priorities for me. But anyway, that's it for now. Now I need to get on with actually reading all these books. One day down and one book down. I have finished Honey Craves, and actually, it's technically 2 books down, but one of them is because I've had to DNF another book, and that book is A House with Good Bones, because I went to renew my library book and someone had placed a reservation on it, so my list has gone from 30 to 28, which is pretty exciting. I've skipped ahead a few because the books are in different formats, and I was specifically fancying an ebook after I finished Honey Craves, so I have picked up Starter Villain, and I forgot just how hilarious this book is. I'm having such a good time with it. It's so deeply unserious, and I love that. Another day, another book finished. I think I need to reorder my kind of ranking that I'm approaching these books, as I don't think I realised quite how much formatting would play a role in the order that I approach them. So hopefully in the next day or two, I'll reorder the ranking and do like a ranking for each format. But anyway, I finished another ebook format book, and that was Starter Villain, which I absolutely loved. Like, it's so good that it doesn't take itself too seriously. It's a really fun concept. And it was just such a good time. And it makes me want to read more by John Scalzi. Is that how you say his name? And what else? Oh yeah, so I've now moved on to He Who Bleeds by Dorian Valentine, which is quite an early arc actually. The book's not out till October, but I'm having the absolute best time with it. It's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, but it's very much my cup of tea. I don't think I'm going to have finished another book by tomorrow. Like, I've just made pretty good progress so far. But then again, I'm thinking of having a very chill kind of cross-stitch and audiobook day tomorrow, so maybe I will get to make some headway on some of the audiobooks that are on my list, hopefully. As promised, I am going to reorganise my ranking, kind of splitting out by format and whatnot. So this is the original ranking that I created. So let's take out, well, first let's take out the books that I have completed or otherwise DNF'd. So that removes Honey Craves, Starter Villain, and A House with Good Bones. This one was a DNF, the other two were books that I finished and absolutely adored, as you already know at this point in the video. Okay, so we have now got the remaining books in a bit of a order, so let's pile them up by format. So that is, oh actually that works out quite nicely because we've got physical book, ebook, audiobook, and we're just going to pile on top. So audiobook, ebook, ebook, physical, audio, ebook. I mean, I have this in all formats, but ebook, ebook, audiobook. Again, I've got this in all formats, but that's what I'm going with. Audio, multiple formats again. A lot of these I've got in multiple formats. Ebook, physical. So we're just kind of going with like the primary format I'm reading in. So ebook, ebook, audiobook, physical book, audiobook, ebook, audio, ebook. We will have a cover for that very soon. Physical, audio, and physical. Okay, so we've split them down into formats. So let's see about the ranking, because I think there are a couple of things that I want to shuffle around. So we'll just lay them down in the original order, and then we'll see if I want to move anything around. Okay, so first off, I'm gonna move Beautiful Villain and Only the Guilty Survive in front, because that is a Everand one. So basically, the audiobooks that I'm listening to on Everand, I want to prioritise backlist arcs listened to on Everand. So I think, oh, I don't know, honestly. I've seemed to have confused myself. Right, so let's move that, because that is listening to on Spotify. Sorry, this is probably like making no sense, except it makes sense to me. Okay, so this might look really random, but essentially those are NetGalley audiobooks that I've got, so they're like my top priority. That I own the audiobook on Zigzag. These 4 I've got on Everand, and these through Spotify. Realistically, because you only get 15 hours on Spotify, and my audiobook hours renew after this video ends, so I think I'm gonna say these 2 are a softie enough, because I'm only really gonna get to listen to Panic. Yeah, I think I'm happy with like this as the order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But in this kind of space here, we've got, I think, 3 backlist audiobooks that I could listen to on Everand. So potentially my Everand would kick me out before I got to these later titles. I hope that makes sense. I think I've made it deeply confusing, but that is my audiobook rankings. The next category is ebooks. So let's see how I feel about these. I don't know if I'm gonna, you know, remove them or change the order of any of these. I think really it was the audiobooks that I was like, I might want to change the order. So this is the ranking of the ebooks, and looking at this, I feel pretty happy with this order. Like, maybe I would move those 2 around, but I'm going to say that is actually, like, that stays. I'm having a good time with these. I'm particularly enjoying He Who Bleeds. And I'm looking forward to, well, getting back to all the rest of the audiobooks. And our final category is physical books. So we don't have many of these. Yeah, looking at these, I feel relatively happy with this order. Although I would be tempted to switch those 2 around, because I think it's not going to take me very long to finish A Diary of Blood, and because it's a reread, again, it's going to make it quick for me, and then that would be one that I can easily tick off. This is a library book. It's also like the lowest ranked book on my list, so potentially I'll end up softy and effing it because it's due back, but also I don't know if it's my jam anyway. But yeah, no changes need to be made here. So I think basically it was just the audiobooks where the order needed to change, and I think it's very helpful breaking it down by format, because I feel like each format fits a very separate purpose, and it's not as easy to go, okay, here's 30 books, this is the exact order I'm going to read them in. I hope this all makes sense, and back to reading. Hi, it's been a minute, but I thought I'd do a quick update. So I finished He Who Bleeds, absolutely amazing. Also, I've seen the cover for it now, which, I mean, at this point in the video, you would have seen the cover a few times, but like, I just saw it a few days ago as I'm recording this, and the cover is absolutely stunning. Like, I love this book anyway, so I would want it on my kind of like trophy shelf, but I definitely need a physical edition now that I've seen the cover. And what else? I finished something else. Oh, Long Live Evil! It was so good. Like, it's very much one of those books that like doesn't take itself too seriously. It's quite meta, and just overall I had an incredible time with it, and I'm looking forward to continuing the series. I'm now making my way through A Heart of Desire and Deceit. And what else? Oh, Only the Guilty Survive. And the next clip I think is me going to be having a look at all of the books that are still on my list, because realistically I want to be focusing on arcs in August, so I think I need to rethink which of the books I'm going to actually like soft and hard DNF. But then that was kind of the point of this vlog. I would have liked for this video to have been a bit more reading, and I have been doing a reasonable amount of reading, but I also think realistically it's also about clearing down my currently reading list, because it just blossomed out of control during the Hugos. Hello. Okay, that was weird. So this is the graphic, except just bear with me a moment. I completely forgot that I needed to put in a cover for He Who Bleeds. Okay, so we now have a cover for He Who Bleeds. So this is our graphic as it was standing. So obviously we've got red Honeycraves, red starter villain, DNF'd a Fireborn of Exile, DNF'd a Marvellous Light, and DNF'd a House with Good Bones. So the first thing we want to do is tick off the things we've read. So we've read He Who Bleeds, we've done Long Live Evil, and I don't think we've finished anything else. No, we have not. Okay, so is there anything we've decided to DNF? That is the question. So as I was saying, I want to be focusing on arcs. Well, I'm pretty sure we decided we were DNFing these on either end, or we're just putting them to one side. So if we say that's a DNF, that's a DNF, that would be a DNF. I mean, I really don't want to DNF Systematum Monster. I think I would put that... I'll go back and like write in what things are. But I think I'm going to put that... Actually, no, let's do it now. Let's pick purple. And this is going to be like quite big writing, but I can go back. So this is going to be low priority, which, as I said at the start of the video, basically just means that I'm not worried about finishing before this allotted period of time's up. And let's see, because there's some other DNFs that are pretty clear to me. So what else am I DNFing? I think it's fine, but it's just not right now. So DNF Victory is Greater Than Death. Same for Stars Want Blood. Same for On the Fox Roads. Yeah, let's be strict. So same for When the Moon Hatched and To Shape a Dragon's Breath. Gosh, we're kicking a lot out the doors. Am I going to finish these 4 before the period of time's up? I don't know. Okay, what else? What else? DNF Robber Girl. DNF Sunlit Man. Am I DNFing? Yeah. DNF Haunting Adeline. But we'll keep those 3. Okay, so let me just make a note of which ones of these are actually arcs. If I'm saying that I'm focusing on arcs in August. So that's an arc. That's technically an arc because I've got a physical arc. That's an arc. Of course, like these are all have been around out for a bit. That's an arc. That's an arc. And that's an arc. So some of them are backlist arcs. Obviously there's others that are arcs, but I'm so sorry my words are not with me today. Yeah, there's some others that are arcs, but I've already finished. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. So I think I'm going to say Honey Witch is one that, like, I definitely was enjoying what I read, but I just think if I'm focusing on arcs, we'll DNF that. So that's going to be a DNF as well. So what does that leave us with? That is the question. And that is what we're working with. Okay, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And we have about 1 week. So it's going to be hard, but I think it's doable because we've got 3 audiobooks. Maybe I'm just fooling myself. But yeah, we want to get these 10 books done in 1 week. And I guess that's the update for now. Sorry, this lighting situation is not ideal, but I thought I would do a very quick update to just like say where I'm at with my vlog, I guess. So I think the last time I filmed a clip, and I could be wrong, I'd narrowed down my currently reading to 10 books. Heart of Desire and Deceit, Gwen and Art Are Not in Love, Some Desperate Glory, Mammoths at the Gates, The Hunter's Gambit, Beautiful Villain, Only the Guilty Survive, #Panic, Diary of Blood, and Unraveller. And I haven't finished any of those since I last checked in. Like, I've made some progress, but it's now August. And like, I want to be focusing on my arcs this month. Just try and like have a big push. So I guess that means that Some Desperate Glory, Mammoths at the Gates, A Diary of Blood, and I mean Unraveller, maybe? I don't know. No, Unraveller was like an arc edition, even though like it's been out for multiple years. So basically Diary, Some Desperate Glory, and Mammoths at the Gates, none of them are arcs. I know some of the arcs on the list are not technically arcs anymore. Like, I got an arc copy, but like the book's been out for some time. So I guess we'll see. I've only got a couple of days left until my like self-imposed deadline, so I don't know how much I'm going to achieve before then. Like, I'm enjoying what I'm reading. I think today I'm going to try and knock off Mammoths at the Gates and A Diary of Blood, because that will get me down to 8, which feels really exciting. And I don't know, I'll try and listen to one of the audiobooks whilst I'm doing bits and bobs around the flat, I suppose. Like, I haven't done any real costuming towards going to Worldcon. Like, I think I was way too ambitious with what I wanted to make, so I've pared it right back, but I still have some bits and bobs that I need to make that I haven't yet. But yeah, I think that's all I've got for right now. I hopefully will check in a little bit later today and I will have finished some stuff, fingers crossed. Jumping in with an update, I have finished some books. Go me! So I finished my reread of A Diary of Blood, and I definitely enjoyed it much more this time. Reading with my eyes was a much better way of experiencing the story, and it's so beautiful. The way Saint writes is absolutely gorgeous, and I had the absolute best time with it. And then I finished Mammoths at the Gates. I think I thought I was further along than I was. I was only a quarter of the way through, but I have obviously finished it now. And I love the way that it explores grief and the relationship we have with grieving people. And it did a really interesting job of talking about people that can be beloved but also imperfect. There was also a really cool magical element that came in at the end that I thought just made it all the more gorgeous. And it was a book that kind of the minute I finished, I just wanted to have like a good cathartic cry because I loved it. It's quite possibly one of the most beautiful books that I've read in a long time. But it's also very, very heavy because the whole point of this book was an exploration of loss and grief and the ways that can impact a person. I don't know what I will be reading next. I think probably I'm most likely to get the audiobooks done. I know Hunter's Gambit, I think, like, I'm not quite putting it on the low priority currently reading list yet, but I think it's one that I will carry over if I don't finish it. I'm not sure. I think probably what I'll do is, like, at the end of this video, I will reassess where I'm standing with each of the books and kind of go from there. But it is exciting to know that I only have, oh, it's pen. It's like, what's that mark on my wrist? Yeah, it's very exciting to know that I think I only have 8 books left of my original list, which is definitely progress. So today is the last day that I can read stuff for this project, and I'm going to be completely honest, I don't think I'm going to make any more progress. I don't think I'm going to finish anymore. Like, I was hoping, because I've got a lot of crafting to do today, that I'd get some audiobooks done, but I'm just not vibing with that. Like, maybe I'll get some audiobooks done later tonight, but I do have to, like, cut off the vlog at some point. So I guess we're going to be left with, is it 8 books? I don't know. My brain power's not in it, but I just thought I'd kind of check in and be like, best laid plans. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but that's fine, you know? I still think I did pretty impressive job, and I'll be sure to kind of come back and talk you through everything that I soft DNF'd, hard DNF'd, is a low priority currently reading, and obviously importantly finished. I don't think I actually finished that many books for this vlog, but at least my currently reading pile's looking a lot more sensible now. Hello. Wow, why am I so weird and awkward? So we have reached the final part of this video. Well, I'll probably have a goodbye at the end, but I thought we would go through all, sorry, I'm holding my cursor too far away. So I thought we'd go through all 49 of the books that I started with. At least I really hope it's 49, because I think that's all I've got there. Let's see. Yeah, so it's 49 books. So we'll go through all 49 and sort of say which I completed, which I didn't, and where they stand. So let's remind ourselves of the categories. Okay, so we've got books that I've finished, and then obviously we have books that are a DNF, and in that normally we would have soft and we would have hard. However, for the sake of this, going through all of the books and sort of saying where we are at now, so instead of saying hard or soft, I'm going to give them a 1 with, like, it's a super soft DNF, and, you know, I'll probably pick up soon, all the way up to a 5, which is a hard DNF, and I am probably unlikely to pick up again. Sorry, I put an extra line there. So that's a soft and that's the hard. And then we have currently reading. Let me just write that out. Currently reading. And then, if I remember correctly, our last category was low priority, but obviously at this point, like, it's all currently reading. Like, these are basically a single category. So I thought what I would do is I'd do little symbol type things for everything. So let's change that. Okay, so for finished, let's go with a really easy, really obvious thing. Let's do a green tick mark. Then for the DNFs, let's go with red. So for the DNFs, it will be this to this in red. So we've got a 1 to a 5. Let's just make that clearer, as if you're not listening to me right now anyway. And then for currently reading, let's go for something in the middle. What should we do? Should we do a blue? Do a blue. What should we do for blue? Should we just do a heart? Because like I loved it enough to want to continue reading after the end of the project. Oh, we need a final category for books that I just need to change my pencil colour. We need a final category. I don't have a space down there, so let's just say a final category would be books I didn't start, because there were a couple that was like, oh, I really want to read these, I'm going to add them to my list because I really want to read them and I'm determined, and that didn't happen. So for the ones that I never started, let's just go, I was going to use this same colour, but let's actually go for, should we go for a brown? Let's go for a brown. So that is for never started. And that is our system. So I could go category by category, but I think I'm just going to work from here to here, and then I'm going to zigzag. Am I going to zigzag? No. Here to here, then go back to the start and work like that. If that makes sense. It will once I get started anyway. We have The Ha by David Sondergren, and that was a DNF. And I'm going to say that it's actually a 5, because I think it's highly unlikely that I am ever going to pick it up again, because like it was fine, it's not a bad book, but I just wasn't obsessed with it, and I had my friend consensually spoil it for me, so I don't see any value in me going back and watching it. He Who Bleeds, on the other hand, I absolutely adored. Did I? I did do an icon for it, didn't I? Yeah, it was a tick. Very easy, very simple. So He Who Bleeds comes out in October and is an absolutely amazing book, and I highly recommend. I mean, it is not going to be to everyone's taste, so kind of go in aware of that, like properly look up what this book's about, look into content warnings, but I had a really good time with it. Haunting Adeline, I am gonna put this on the other end of the spectrum from The Heart, in that, you know, some things had to go and had to be DNF'd, so it's going to be a 1. A Benny Song, I'm going to put a 3. I didn't get far enough in to know how I feel about it, but I think it's not bad. Are we doing only whole numbers? I feel like there's no necessity to do whole numbers, so let's give Liberty's Daughter a 2.5 because it was also a DNF. Unraveler is a 1 because, again, it had to, I had to get rid of stuff, but I am incredibly intrigued by it and looking forward to it. Panic, I believe I am currently reading, so Panic is a blue. It is a good time. Honey Craves was another one that I absolutely loved. I suspect that all of the ones that I finished for this video were excellent because the nature of this video was that I had to read excellent titles. Victory is Greater Than Death, I'm going to give it a 1.5 when I find my pen. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 1.5 because I think it had a lot of potential and I was enjoying it. I think I was just in the wrong frame of mind and could not enjoy it. A Marvelous Light, I'm going to give a 0.25 because like I desperately want to continue, and it's just a case of I just didn't have the time to focus on it. I think you're seeing a trend of there's an awful lot of DNFs, but that was kind of the point. A Fireborn in Exile, I'm going to give it a 3. Like, I don't think it was bad, but I'm also not sure if I am particularly like excited to pick it up. The Laundry Files, I think, just wasn't for me. So I'm going to give it a 4. Like, it's very much, I'm not ruling it out, but I probably am not going to pick it up in the future. Like, feel free in the comments to tell me if I'm so off base with any of these. I did not enjoy the Shards of Earth, so that's a 5 easily. Rosemary and Rue is a 1, and I actually got to meet, very briefly because it was in a signing queue, but I actually got to meet Shauna Maguire, so that was nice. To Shape a Dragon's Breath is also a 1, which you can't see very well, but it is a 1, it's there. Beautiful Villain is one of the ones that I actually didn't start. I can't remember what my system was. Oh, it was a brown X. So Beautiful Villain gets a brown X on it. The Death I Gave Him is another book I was enjoying. I just had to let it go. I'm going to give it a 2. And same for If Found, Return to Hell. Just because, like, ultimately there's only a finite amount of books that a person can read. Titan's Tears is a 5. It just didn't really do it for me. Sister Made a Monster is another 0.5. Like, I'm actually desperate to continue it because it was so good. It did some really interesting things. A Heart of Desire and Deceit, I am currently reading. I don't know why I opened up my colour selection, but I am currently reading it. A House with Good Bones, I had to DNF because it was due back at the library. Like, they actually, like, someone had put a hold on it, so I couldn't keep it. But I don't know. I don't think I got massively far into it, so I can't really make a decision. And I know a lot of people did love it, but I'm going to give it a 2.5. I would like to at least give it another try, but I don't know what I'm going to think about it. 10% Thief just didn't appeal to me, so it's going to be a 5. Gwen and I Are Not in Love is a 1.5, I think. Like, I started as an audiobook, and the reason I didn't finish it, I didn't continue rather, is I didn't like the audiobook. It's dual narrator, and one of the narrators, their narration felt tonally off. Like, ultimately, it's clearly what they've been asked to do, but I didn't feel like it fit the book. Hooked, probably it's a 5 because I've been consensually spoiled, but like, it just didn't work for me. Gilded Thorns is Regency era. Well, it's like alternative history, but it's Regency era vampires, which is a slay. The next one is something I've actually read. Way, and that is Starter Villain. Very, very good. Some Desperate Glory, I can't remember if and this is the thing as well, if I've said something different earlier in the video, ultimately, like, this is me making my final decisions. I can't remember if I said I'd DNF it, but I'm far enough in that it feels like a waste to DNF, so I'm actually going to say that I'm currently reading it, but it is pretty low priority because I'm focusing on arcs at the moment. Translation State is a DNF. Yeah, like, I'd want to go back to it in the future anyway. I'm going to give it a 1 because I did like what I read, but it requires quite a bit of Brainpower. Also, in the Hugo voter packet, I only got a sampler. Saint of Bright Doors. Ooh, what would I give that? I'm going to give it a 3.5. I think it had potential, but it just wasn't quite working for me. Helpful. The next two don't have their titles on, but they are Antler's Journey and Seeds of Mercury, I think in that order. But I'm just going to say that they're both a 5. Like, I can't see me ever going out of my way to continue them. All These Worlds, so this is one where, like, I'm going to give it a 5, but I don't think it's badly written. I think it's just a case of, I don't think it's the book for me. But, like, what it does well, as long as you are the correct audience for it. A City on Mars, yeah, I was having a good time with it, so I'm going to give it a 1.5. Mammoths at the Gates, yes, I finished that. It is my favourite by a country mile in the Singing Hills cycle and had such an impact on me. Rose House is a DNF. I'm going to give it a 4. Like, it had some interesting ideas and potential, but it just didn't quite, work out for me. So, The Mimicking of Known Successors, I think it's highly unlikely I'm going to continue. So that gets a 5. On the Fox Roads, also a 5. Like, it felt very Americana. A Dowry of Blood, I finished. It was a reread though, so like, it was a foregone conclusion that I loved it. When the Moon Hatched, have I actually said that title correctly? I always put an extra word into it. So I DNF'd it. I liked what I read so far of it, but I do think it had like quite a lot of words to it. So yeah, I'll give it a 1. Like, I'm not far enough in to have any kind of negative thoughts, and I was having a good time. Honey Witch, it's more that I want to go back to the start than I feel like I couldn't continue where I am. So that's an easy 1. Same for Robber Girl. Sunlit Man is actually probably a 5. Obviously these are all DNFs. The Stars Want Blood, I think, is another 1. I'm just not in the right place. The fan fiction that I'm currently reading is currently reading. Same for The Right to Maim. Same for The Hunter's Gambit. And Long Live Evil, I finished. Absolutely fantastic. Are we surprised? Because the ones I finished were absolutely amazing. Then we've got Only the Guilty Survive, which I am going to put as currently reading because I didn't get very far in. So it's almost like I have DNF'd because I'm very close to the start. But I am currently reading, so it's a win for me because it's not another DNF. This is a field of a lot of red. So that's the vlog. I think I've talked way too much in this video. I hope it's been enjoyable. It was a little bit different for me to do, but that's fine. I'm gonna just say a couple of quick stats. So, of all of the books that I started out with, so the 49 books, 1 of them I didn't start, 7 of them I am currently reading, 35 of them I DNF'd, and my average intrigue of 1 being definitely want to pick it up again soon, and 5 being probably not going to pick it up again, is 2.87. Did I say there was 35 of them? I can't remember. And I finished a total of 6. So I think that averages at 2 a week, I think. Because I think the video started on the 20th or 21st of July. And it cut off just before I came to Worldcon, which was Wednesday the 5th, I want to say.
So yeah, that's the video. Thank you very much for watching it. I can't do the full heart because I'm holding my camera, but love you. Bye.